Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get started.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of African Techpreneur. Now, just a reminder about why we are doing this. This series is a live class, you can call it, for IT varsity students. It's especially for IT varsity students because we feel that over and above the technical skills, we need our learners to keep up to date with what's going on in the world of technology. Everything new that's taking place, but also very importantly, how it affects us as human beings, how it affects our lives, our careers, and obviously our businesses. So it's a way of us keeping our students up to date, motivating them to become a part of this giant technological movement that's happening around the world, and also to introduce them to opportunities out there in the world for tech entrepreneurs. I mean, you're getting technology skills, you're either going to work at a company or you're going to start your own business. If you're working for a company, it's what we call an intrapreneur, who is a person that works inside a company, but is like an entrepreneur. So they use entrepreneurial skills and attitudes to progress themselves in their careers. Or they can be an entrepreneur, which is basically to start your own business and to roll with it. Now, if you saw the articles that I've been putting on LinkedIn last week, especially last Saturday, there was an article that I posted where the president of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, mentioned something very important. He said that the days of us waiting for big companies to create jobs are over. They're long gone. What's going to be the future is small businesses. Now, for many people, this is like a disaster. It's like the end of the world, that we're running out of jobs. There's going to be panic. There's going to be starvation. But people don't really listen to what the man is saying or what other experts are saying around the world. The economy of the country is going to be driven by small businesses. The economies of so many countries is driven by small businesses. Now, we need to be aware of that. We need to embrace that, and we need to be part of that movement. I mean, we're always complaining about big corporates, right? We're complaining about big, giant, evil corporates and how they are exploiting communities, how they're exploiting people, and they're only out for the money. I saw a video this morning of somebody complaining that Bill Gates is doing all sorts of evil things. Look, maybe so, but you can't blame Bill Gates for having an agenda. You can't blame a big corporate for having its own agenda. If you have a separate agenda, start your own business and fulfill your agenda. If you want to help people, like we at IT Varsity, our vision is to transform education in South Africa. We want to create more tech entrepreneurs. So we are living our message. In the same way, you can live your own message by starting your own business. And there are so many benefits of starting your own business. Of course, it's definitely not for lazy people, right? Because in a company, you can go in, do your work, don't do your work, collect your salary, like in the series The Office, where everybody just hangs around, does stuff, drinks coffee, talks nonsense, and they still collect their salaries. In a business, unfortunately, it's not like that. You can't blame anyone else if things go wrong, and you can't rely on anyone else to pay your salary at the end of the month and to put food on your table. You have to work hard because you are responsible for your own income. You don't work, you don't eat. The harder you work, the better it is for you, the more money you will make. So I think we need to come out of this lazy thinking mentality and really start thinking about entrepreneurship. It's scary. I know it's scary. It's not easy starting your own business. It's not easy thinking about going out and hustling and looking for clients and satisfying their needs and taking their complaints if there are any. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of guts. But trust me when I say we are going back to the era of small businesses. Why going back? What does it mean going back? It's simply, what I'm trying to say is, in the old days, think about the old days, right? When our great grandparents were alive, when there wasn't such thing as giant corporates, big global companies. I mean, that's a concept that came about in the last 100 years, right? That this whole concept of big companies and things. Prior to that, almost everybody in the world was a small business person. You either had your little subsistence farm, or you had a little shop, or you were a tradesperson. You did woodwork or metalwork, or some kind of other trade, and you made your living in that way. And it was all about that. Now, then came the era of automation and globalization, and the giant corporates came about, and we kind of all got used to that mentality. And that was, by the way, it was it the main proponent of that system was, believe it or not, our education system. Schools were deliberately designed to put people into these little boxes, to put you into the mindset that you are being prepared for a life of being an employee. You are being prepared to work for a company. And that's what schools do from day one, right? You look at the whole structure of a school, the way you need to go in at a certain time, you get boxed into your classroom, you toe the line, you follow with the curriculum, you do what they tell you to do, you pass exams because they say so. From school you go to university, from university you go into getting a job. That's the linear mindset. That is the employee mindset. Schools, that the schooling system that we have currently was designed during the second industrial revolution to produce workers for these factories, starting with the factories. And then the factories became offices. And from doing physical work, people started doing knowledge work. But it was still the same principle. It was still schools producing workers for these factories, like these little broiler farms, these little chicken farms where you get chickens being brought up. So what the president is saying, and what experts are telling us all over the world, and we're seeing this in a big way, is that small businesses are becoming a big thing again. Technology has leveled the playing field. You can go and start an e-commerce business, a web design business. You can do pretty much any business fully online now, and you can do business globally all over the world. So that's the age we're going back into, and it's really encouraging because we are going to see tech entrepreneurs springing up all over Africa. A good example I like to quote is of Bangladesh. Bangladesh, just a couple of decades ago, was one of the poorest countries in the world. Today, the economy is booming. And how? Not through giant corporates, but through small businesses. Bangladesh has 600,000 IT freelancers. 600, almost a million people. Well, in the next couple of years, it will clock a million IT freelancers, not IT professionals, freelancers that are doing work for companies all over the world on a global scale. So that's very encouraging. Another thing we need to be very careful of and very wary of is the media when it comes to the way they portray businesses. I mean, you'll notice that in the media, they talk about, they glorify giant corporates, that so and so became a billionaire, and there's so and so company is a unicorn, and so and so has been acquired or got $300 million in funding, etc. Look, that's all great. It's well and good. But it creates the mindset that you either all or you nothing. And I think that's incorrect because yes, there's place for the big guys, there's place for the Facebooks and the Ubers and the Amazons of this world. But what if you don't make it there? Or what if you don't even have the desire to make it there? What if you just want to start your own little business, call it a lifestyle business, just to give you the freedom, just to give you the life of comfort that you want for yourself and your family, to travel, to enjoy life, to drive the kind of car you want, live the kind of home you want. Guys, that is even possible. Give me a second. Sita, you bring my charger this way, please. Sorry, running low on battery on my laptop. So there's place for the little guys. Remember that. And there's abundant opportunity. This is the great thing about. Sorry, I'm just going to plug this in. This is the great thing about technology. It's creating so many opportunities. So we shouldn't worry about the big guys and the billionaires and the giant corporates. Don't even think about or worrying about them. Focus on what you do and take it as far as you want to go. Take it as far as you want to go. I mean, if you are running a web design business, you're earning 30, 40,000 rands a month. Why not? That's a very comfortable salary. If you are doing e-commerce from home, your little business going, you're drop shipping goods, you're living comfortably, you want that kind of lifestyle, you want to work from home, you're content with what you got, why not? Or you want to grow into a multi-million rand business, fine, go for it, chase it. But remember, everything has a starting point. You have to start small. You have to start somewhere. People tell you, think big and, go out and get funding, become the next unicorn, big talk. This comes generally from people who never started their own businesses. If you take Nike, or Nike, some people like to pronounce it, the shoe company, how did they start off? The founder started selling shoes from the trunk of his car. So he went to sports events, opened the trunk, got all his wares there, and he started selling. That's how he started. And the only reason he started his business was because he was passionate about sports, and he was passionate about sports shoes and about performance in athletes. So don't stress about becoming the next unicorn and the next Uber and the next Facebook and the next Airbnb. There's that. Start your own business. Take the baby steps. You haven't even learned to crawl yet, and already people are asking you to fly. It can be intimidating. Don't get intimidated. Do what you do. Keep your focus and carry on. Okay, I don't want to steal the show. I think I've already taken half the time, but I just wanted to get that out. And one of the main objectives of doing African Techpreneur is to give you guys this kind of advice, but also to expose you to entrepreneurs who are doing it, people who have been there. These are not people that read books and are teaching you from books. These are people that are living what they are talking. 2 weeks ago, we met Toliswa Shandu. She's a web designer. Today, we get to meet Zakiyya Mehtar. Zakiyya is one of my very first students. She was my student when we were still a garage operation in 2009 in Johannesburg. When I first started my business, she came, she did a web design course, and she started a web design business. Her business is called Pixel Web Design Studio. And it's been quite a journey. I think we've crossed paths many times on that journey. So Zakiyya runs a home-based web design business, and she's doing well for herself. She works for a number of small businesses. She does all kinds of web design and digital solutions for them. And I think she's gained so much of wisdom in the past few years. And today we're going to tap into that wisdom. Zakiyya, welcome to African Techpreneur, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Good morning, Bilal. Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure to be here today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a weird scenario that there are so many IT varsity students here right now that are current students. And it's such a fulfilling thing that my past students are getting to meet my current students and share their experiences with them. So Zakiyya, you run a web design business, right? Let's start with the why, right? Simon Sinek says start with why. So I want to know why you decided to start your own business versus going to work for a company as a web designer.
Okay, so to answer that, I have to go a little bit back into my history of where my career actually started. So when I matriculated, I actually wanted to become a physiotherapist. and I didn't get in for that. And at this particular time, I'm talking of the like 1998, the technology field was booming. That was the buzzword. This is where programmers are going to be blossoming. That was what the industry that was going to be booming, basically. So I registered for a diploma in IT. I completed that. I worked for about a year as a Visual Basic programmer. And once my son was born, I made a decision. It was something that I wanted to do, to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And I did that. And then after my last son was born, I decided, now it was time for me to get back into the industry. But how could I do that? Because languages that I had learned, like COBOL, for example, were already obsolete. Where do I start? You know? But I knew that I had these skills already under my belt. I had the foundation of IT, of the knowledge rather. And I registered for a course through UNISA. It was a certificate course in web design. And it gave me a lot of theoretical knowledge, but hardly any practical knowledge. And then I came across your advert in the newspaper, in our local paper, and you were having an open day. I came for that. And I registered and I set aside the time to come for those classes and to complete the course. And so the reason for my journey was actually because I wanted to do something that was home based, something that would allow me that opportunity to have the flexibility and to still be able to balance motherhood with a career. And once I completed your course, or rather, even once I began that course, I mean, we built a website from conception to completion. We literally did that. It gave me the knowledge of hosting, of graphic design. It gave me so much of skills, and it gave me the confidence once I had completely built that site that this is something I could do. And I went on to my siblings and I offered them, this opportunity that let me design your website for you um,
For free.
for free, because
All right.
I knew I needed to start building my portfolio. But who was going to trust me with their money when all I had was now a single site that I had built while still being a learner, literally being a learner. And so I offered them that. They were only too happy because, I mean, say it was now 2010, most businesses didn't have websites at that time. It was still something that businesses were starting to grasp the idea of. And so, yeah, so to say to all your current students, it was the course that I did with you that actually catapulted me into starting my own web design business. And I am where I am, not only because of that course, but also because of the little, you know, the knowledge that you would impart, like surrounding maybe work ethics, for example, while we were in class. So it wasn't just the technical skills that I had gained, it was all these other little things, and it built my confidence, and that's how I started off.
That's such an amazing story, and I appreciate you giving me so much of credit. But I can say with confidence that you, in the time since you left us and you started your own business, you've expanded your own knowledge base so much, and I can say with confidence you're a much better designer than I ever was. So I mean, you one of those people that I could see your learning didn't stop with the course. You just continued learning. You continued growing. You ran into obstacles, I remember, and there was some research that you needed to do. I think when you did the course, there wasn't even WordPress. We did basic HTML and CSS, if I'm not mistaken.
HTML and CSS, that was how I coded my first website. It, it
Those
was,
were the
I think
fun
I
days.
had done an advanced course after a few months, and that was when I was introduced to WordPress. And
Yeah,
then I was like, oh, so I don't have to do all of this coding now. It was like kind of an out of the box solution for so many things.
fantastic. And now WordPress is actually an integral part of our entrepreneur course. So as much as there's the coding aspect, I mean, and the coding has gone a lot more detailed than it was before. but there's also now WordPress, because we want to give our students the opportunity to choose to become web designers. Okay, so you actually answered my one of the questions that I was going to ask you, that how did you acquire your first clients? So obviously from what you're saying, you didn't even go out to the corporate world. You just went to friends and family and you offered them free websites. But tell me this now, right? Uh, from your first free website that you built till your actual paid, the first time that you got paid, how long time was that, and what was that journey like?
Okay, so I think it would have been maybe a time frame of 2 months. That's what I
Wow.
would say. So after I built those two sites and I was happy with how they looked, I felt proud of them. I felt that it was presentable, it was representative of the business that they were showcasing. It wasn't, it was something presentable, something that was functional, something that was aesthetically pleasing. What I did after that is that I approached friends that I knew that owned their own businesses. Like, for example, my own chiropractor. I sent him a really nice email. I told him, this is what I can do for you. I know that you don't have a website. This is what I would like to charge you. This is the process. And not a spammy email. It was a personal email where he knew me, I knew him, and I was offering him my service. And he was happy to go along with it. That was my first client meeting, my first project. And I think you have to start somewhere, even if it means not earning so much at the beginning, but you have to build your portfolio and you have to build your confidence, and you need to start at the bottom, basically. So I wasn't
Okay.
earning a lot of money, like, just off the ball right from the beginning. It took a lot of time to get me to where I am today. And as my journey progressed, I realized that there were so many skills I needed to improve. For example, my graphic design skills. So where my technical web design skills were fine, my graphic design skills were not that great. I would look at my websites, compare them to others, and say, but if I can improve on my graphic skills, my sites can look much better. So I enrolled for 2 courses at a training center in Woodmead. I took time off, I went and did that. So you're on a constant journey of learning and of improving your skills all the time. When you're in this kind of a field, learning never stops. And you have to be
Absolutely.
critical of yourself as well and ask yourself, where am I falling short? What can I do to improve those aspects?
Inspirational, absolutely inspirational. So I noticed recently you've expanded your operations from just websites to digital, if I'm not mistaken. So you're doing a bit of digital marketing for your clients and things. Uh, what was the reason for that? Why did you expand your operations that way?
Okay, so where I started off with just web design, once I completed certain sites, I think when you connect with your clients and they find that you have a good work ethic and they can depend on you and rely on you, I had clients ask me about social media, um, uh, like, was I able to set up their pages for them? Was I able to perhaps post for them? They were clueless about social media, about how to go about doing it, curating content, doing the actual posting, putting together captions. They didn't have an idea, and so they approached me. I had a few clients, and so I said yes, why not? And I took an online course which was being run during the evenings. I set aside time again for that, and I started learning about all of this hashtags and when's the ideal time to post, and um, setting up your page, having it be having your social media pages be consistent with your branding, what kind of things to post. I mean, as the ordinary businessman, people are they focusing on their business. They want to bring in sales. They don't have the time and the capacity to do these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I ended up offering this as an extended service to my existing clients. And now I have other clients who I didn't build their websites, but I ran their social media accounts for them. And
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along that journey, they'll say to me, I don't have a website. What can we do about it? Or my website looks so outdated. What can you offer me? What can you do for me? So that's how I ended up offering the digital marketing. And once again, it was a learning curve, it was a learning experience. And when people are paying you for a service, they're going to expect a return on that investment. So I knew that if I was posting things, maybe 10 posts in a month, and if this client didn't see the return on that investment, however little it was, they would want to see new followers, engagement. They would want to see that their sales, most importantly, are increasing. They're getting inquiries about their services or the products that they are offering. So I wouldn't suggest that you just go uh, ahead on into offering a service that you have no understanding about. Learn about it first so that you become confident when you are doing that, and that you also not just taking people's money, but they are seeing that return on that investment.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I think. If you ask me what is the secret of your success, I think it's that you're very client focused, you're very results oriented. You want results for your customers. I know so many so-called digital marketing professionals who just post for the sake of it. They don't really understand what are the ups and downs. Like you mentioned something like what are the best times and the best hashtags. I think they don't concern themselves with those things. They just focus on getting out the post, almost mechanically sending these things out. They probably got a scheduling software to do that for them. But your focus is on delivering results for your client, and I think that's the key factor. That's very, very important. And the fact that your business grew, I don't think you really advertised that much, but your business, if I'm not mistaken, it grew by word of mouth, isn't it?
That's correct. So I think I must have both done one or two adverts in our local newspaper. But I think what was really crucial in my business growing was that I was recommended from client to client. And the reason for this, I don't believe it's because of my technical skills. I believe it's got to do with bringing your personality to your business and to your clients, collaborating well with them, and having a good work ethic. Today, people don't have. There's a lot of people that don't have that good work ethic, and I would hear clients coming back to me and saying, somebody was doing this, but they aborted the project halfway. So they had experiences where they had already worked with somebody or tried to get that website up and running. So for me, things like showing up on time to a meeting, for example, is really important. If I say to a client, tomorrow by 12 o'clock, I'll send you a quote, I make sure I do that. This builds trust, it builds reliability between me and the client. They know that they can depend on me, that they can trust me. And I think even just simple things like being polite, being courteous when you're communicating with clients, when you're talking to them, whether it's verbal, whether it's written communication, I think all of these things are important. And yes, so far, a lot of my clients have just been, it's by word of mouth, where one client would recommend me to somebody else.
That's the best form of marketing. I mean, you can't get better marketing than that. And I think apart from the strong work ethic and the professionalism, it's also that personal service. I think websites and digital marketing are very personal things. When it comes especially to a business, every business has its own character that it needs to put out into the world. There's no two businesses that have the same character. I mean, think of your KFC versus your Nando's, right? They both are in the business of selling chicken, but they have a very distinct character in the way they portray themselves. Or if you look at IT varsity versus a UNISA, right? So you can see that we are the little guys that are very focused on what we do. We're passionate about our customers. UNISA is a big university that that's got so many students. So the way we put ourselves out needs to talk to our personality and our character as a business. And I think more and more businesses are starting to realize that. And rather than going with the big agents, the big agencies, the expensive agencies with the high flying pros, they are also seeing now that it's more valuable to go and work with a person who is a small business that will give you that added service and also help you to identify and put out your personality as a brand. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I was at a talk, I think it was a couple of years ago, where one young lady asked me a question. She says, I want to start a business in a certain industry, but there are such big players in that industry. I haven't started and I don't feel like starting. I get basically demotivated. So I said to a young lady, don't worry about the big players. Don't focus on that, because then you'll never do anything in your life. Focus on what you are bringing to the market. If it's nothing more than just professionalism and personalized service, that in itself is a big winner. So don't focus on that. Focus on your own strengths and focus on serving your clients to the best of your ability, and you will get there. Okay, Zakiyya, unfortunately, we've run out of time. We've got so many things I wanted to speak to you about, but I think, in a nutshell, you've given us so much. You've given us words of wisdom. You've really got most of us thinking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Akifa to check through the chats and see if there's any questions, and if so, she'll bring them out here. Akifa, any questions from the audience?
Hi. No, I haven't had any questions or comments coming through, but lots of likes and love. So people are definitely enjoying the conversation. So yeah, I think like a lot of the points were actually covered in the webinar, especially like how to get started and what is that waiting period, from going from giving free services to your first paid client. And I mean, 2 months, that's brilliant. So I think, like, especially for our viewers, our audience, I think that is giving them a little bit of hope, because some of them are, I think they're fearful of that. How long am I going to have to give this free service up until I actually start earning? So I think we covered most majority of those important points that. Oh, we do have a question, Siba Cecil. Hi, I have a question for Zakiyya. How much you charge your customers, and why do you charge that amount? So I think someone's asking based on rates. That's for Siba Cecil.
I was actually wondering why nobody was asking that question.
Okay,
So,
great question.
Initially, when I started my business, what I would do every time is have a client meeting. I would take all their requirements. I would come back and I would put together a very personalized quote. And then I realized that this was taking up like a lot of my time. So now what I've done is I've put together a standard pricing guide. I had to look at what other people out there are charging for a 1 page, for a 3 page, for a 5 page website. I've broken that down into hosting, into web design, into e-commerce solutions, into branding solutions. So I have a standard, and then also with my social media packages. If I'm posting 10 posts a month, this is the price. So I have a standard guide that I use, and it's based uh, on what other people would be paying out there in the market, but it's affordable, and I know that it's a price that if somebody has to see my portfolio, they would be willing to pay that price.
Excellent. So let me ask you a question, right? Have you seen an upswing in your business since the lockdowns, when people had to stay at home and businesses had to close? Did you see an upswing in business since then?
I did. I saw a lot of new social media clients. So people were a bit more complacent with social media. They've started to up their game when it comes to that. And then also with the e-commerce, where people, maybe it was at the back of their mind, but COVID kind of propelled them into thinking, now this is something they need to do, and this is the way to go.
Fantastic. I mean, we've been saying to people, go digital, get a website, go e-commerce, and they didn't listen. And then when lockdowns happened, then suddenly everybody started scrambling. I myself got so many calls from people that wanted to go digital and things like that. And yeah, there was just too much. What we could give out to our students, we gave, but there was just too much. I think COVID accelerated the digital era. It's the first time in history when the digital era or new innovation was accelerated by a virus and not even a computer virus. Awesome.
Definitely. I think because we eliminated that human interaction, that social connection became so important, over the web and on social media. So it definitely did.
Absolutely. Akifa, any other
Uh,
questions?
Yeah, this question is from Raisa, and she basically wants to know what sort of marketing do you feel is best to use for your industry? Things like email marketing, Google Ads, promoting posts on Facebook and Instagram. So, yeah, what's the best marketing for your industry?
I think to answer that question, if, for example, a client had to ask me that, I would ask them, where are your potential clients? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they people that, email marketing would appeal to them? So first you need to figure that out. Where are my potential customers or my potential clients? What platforms are they using? In order to then understand what kind of marketing you need to be targeting in order to get in new clients and new business. So it can be using multiple things at the same time. Or for some people, they just find all my customers are on Facebook, then they would only be using that. So it's also, we don't want to waste resources and kind of use everything and you're not getting any interest from either of those platforms. So rather use one or two things and post aggressively on there or use that particular platform aggressively and and then see how that works for you.
Thank you
Fantastic.
for
I
that.
mean, see, again, you've brought up that point. I don't think you realized, about wasting resources. That's again service to your clients. You don't want to waste their money. You don't want to waste their time. You want to do what's best for them, what will work. I think if anything stood out for me in this discussion with you, it's service, quality, and service. It just keeps coming back to that, doesn't it?
No, yeah, it does. And that's why my advice to all future students is that don't just work on your technical skills, work on your work ethos and work on just bringing your personality into that business. People appreciate that. People want that personalized service.
Mm. Oh, sorry, we've got another question. Sorry, I just saw this in one of the platforms that we use, and that is from one of that's from Sherbano asking, how many employees have you grown or managed to hire over the period of 10 years? So basically expanding your business from just you yourself to have you expanded to, amount of bringing, like extra people on board.
Okay. So at the moment, I work by myself. If there are things that I'm not managing with or I'm falling behind with, while I don't have somebody employed permanently by myself, I outsource that service. So I do know of a few people that would be willing to do, especially like when you're uploading e-commerce products on an e-commerce site. It's a menial task. I'm comfortable giving that out, outsourcing it to somebody else. But I'm quite particular when it comes to other things like my logo design, how my websites look. So I don't have somebody permanently employed.
Mhm.
Cool. I
I
think
think
that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant because you as an entrepreneur, you are keeping your business on a size that you want. If you wanted to expand, or if tomorrow you decide I want to expand to 100 plus clients, and I'm gonna hire a team around me, you've already got the experience, you've got the background, you've got the trust of your clients, and you can easily scale up from there. But you've got the heart and soul of your business is already there. It's already existing, and that's a great thing about working for yourself, right? You can be as big or as small as you want, and you can do what you want and outsource what you want. That's really cool. Just a question from my side to the non-IT varsity students that are present here, because obviously this is open to the public. To become a web designer, do you have to be some kind of genius, some kind of IT genius, or is it something that anyone can learn? This is a question I get quite often.
So, in all honesty, I think it's definitely something that anyone can learn. Granted that you enrolled at the right place and doing the correct course, that will also make a difference. So you don't want to enroll for something that's very theoretical. You want to enroll for something that's going to give you that practical knowledge at the same time. But the concepts are really very, very easy to grasp. Um, and once you have your basic knowledge, you'll only become better at it the more you practice. So whether it's building test sites, whether it's just being on forums, reading about new plugins, reading about new things that's out there, you'll become better at it. But it's definitely something that any person can easily grasp.
Fantastic. Zakiyya, if people need to get hold of you, there's businesses that need websites and things, do you have an email address you'd like to share with us?
Okay, so my email address is it's a bit long, but I'm gonna just spell it out. It's
Okay.
Zakiyya, Zakiyya dot Mehtar, Mehtar @gmail.com.
Fantastic. Akifa, if you don't mind posting that to the comments on Facebook. So if anybody wants to contact Zakiyya, they can do so. So that's Zakiyya Mehtar, everybody, the founder of Pixel Web Design Studio. If you need a website, if you need an e-commerce solution, digital marketing, you can contact Zakiyya. She specializes in that. She's a dynamic social, what I like to call a digital solutions expert, digital marketing solutions expert, which is
mm,
which is really cool. And I think we're going to wrap up there. Akifa, can we wrap up now?
there's one last question, and that is also from CBC. So asking, is it wise to keep your customers paying monthly? Oh, sorry, month to month, or just pay once off?
Okay.
So
Okay.
That's a good
So
question.
this is actually something that Bilal taught me. I think maybe 5 or 6 years back, I had kind of reached a plateau. So I would be pushing out websites, getting paid for that. But I didn't know what was happening from this month to the next month. My income was maybe steady, but it wasn't consistent. And I wanted to get my business to a point where I knew my income could be consistent. So, minimum, I said to myself, this is what I need to be making at a minimum every month. Everything over and above that would be a bonus. And then I recall we had a chat, and one of the things you said to me is that get your clients on a retainer. And once I completed certain sites, like especially my e-commerce sites, I started offering this as a service to them. I said to them, for this amount, I will do backups, I will update your site. If you have a certain amount of new products that needed to be uploaded, and I gave each one a different quote. So my services were different based on their needs. And so I charge certain of my clients a monthly fee. And I think this is really important. Also, my social media clients are all on monthly packages. Um, and this helps to keep your income consistent. So I think it's very
Fantastic.
important.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, it gives you a reliable monthly steady income, and you are giving back to your clients. You know, my late dad used to say, for if you take 1 rand from a person, give them 1 rand 10 cents back in value. And I think as long as you keep doing that, your clients will be happy. They will continue paying you. If they are seeing obviously the return on their investment, they're seeing the difference to their businesses, why not? It's a win-win situation for everyone. And I think, you know, I mentioned in one of my videos yesterday that if you even charging a 2,000 rand a month retainer and you got 10 clients, which is not really difficult to get, you're earning yourself 20 grand. But I think, again, a 2,000 rand retainer is a bit on the lower end, and 10 clients also is a bit on the lower end. You can get much more than that. But, you know, be careful not to, and I'm saying this to the ID Varsity students, be careful not to bite off more than you can chew. If you see your business is going bigger than you had anticipated, or bigger than you can manage personally, go out and hire someone, hire interns, and you know, get them doing the work like Zakiyya does. She hires people. She outsources a lot of work to people. So you can outsource work, maybe starting with the mundane stuff and then getting into more advanced stuff. Okay, so to wrap up, and this is now coming back to IT Varsity students, because you are my special guests here in this webinar series. Those that have done module 7, you are building WordPress websites, you are learning how to, you know, theme up a site, and then you're taking part in that launchpad project where you have to go and build an actual solution for a business or an organization in your community. I think now you're getting a sense of what is the wisdom behind that. Why do we get you to do that? Why is it that in between all of the coding we suddenly bring in WordPress? What is the point of WordPress? It's to expand your knowledge, and it's also to increase your opportunities in the working world. So, and also to get you used to going out and hustling, because now you're going out into the world. One is you got your own portfolio website, right, which you are building, and the other is now adding to that portfolio, you've got an actual website of a real business or organization that you've built. And if you put that on your CV, if you say to prospective clients that this is what I've built, this is what I'm capable of, already you haven't even graduated yet, but already you are in a very, very advantageous position. So whatever we are asking you to do, it's coming from not years but decades of experience and decades of mistakes that we made and learnings that we made. So guys, take that very, very seriously. Your own portfolio website plus your launchpad website that you're building for a client, take it very, very seriously. Put all your time and effort into that and produce something that you are truly happy with. And the other aspect is social media. I know there's all these talks about the negativities about social media and all the downsides of it, but hey, who's asking you to go onto Facebook and spend hours just, scrolling through meaningless posts, or go on TikTok and just start wasting time there? Nobody's asking you to do that. When we talk about social media, everybody needs to be on social media, but using it in the right way. I mean, think about it like this. Facebook has 2 billion subscribers. Facebook has 2 billion subscribers. Now, think about the number of potential clients of yours are in there. It's like a marketplace, like a mall that's got 2 billion people walking through it every day. Can you name me one single mall that has that many people? But Facebook is that. Instagram is the same. TikTok, which is not one of my favorites, to be honest with you, but the people are there. Now, if you want to reach out to clients, you need to go onto these platforms. You need to put yourself out there. People are not going to find you. There's no miracles that are going to happen in business. Clients are not going to somehow just find you. Have to put yourself out there. But eventually, as you build up your name, you build up your reputation, people will get to know you and they will start referring you. But initially, you'll have to push up and get yourself known. The other thing is, like Zakiyya is doing a digital marketing service for clients, let me ask you a simple question. Can I teach you to cook if I don't know how to cook myself? You see what I'm getting at? If I don't know something, how am I going to teach you, or how am I going to cook for you? So in the same way with digital marketing, if somebody, and this is something I do always, if somebody offers me digital marketing services, the first thing I go and do is to look at their own digital marketing, their own social media accounts. And most of the times, I find that their social media accounts are pathetic, really pathetic. And then I think to myself, well, look, your own presence is pathetic. What are you going to do for me and my brand? Eat your own dog food. That's the crude way that businessmen put it forward. If you are not capable of sorting your own, digital marketing out, you're wasting my time. If you don't have a proper website for yourself, how are you going to build a website for me? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So guys, apply yourselves to this. Get on social media. IT Varsity students, if you're not on LinkedIn until now, you are committing a major crime. You need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be out there. You need to be sharing posts. Tag us, tag me, tag IT Varsity. Share our posts. Put yourself out there. That is how you will get found. Nobody's going to find you. You have to get found. With those few words, I'm going to conclude. We've gone a few minutes over time, but once again, thank you so much for being present. Thank you for taking the time for being here. And once again, Zakiyya, thank you so much for taking the time and giving us such beautiful words of wisdom.
Only a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.